Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Block Sauce, your weekly web show that serves up the juiciest discussions and debates in the world of Web3 culture. I'm your host and re-NFT ambassador, Jin Kieran. Today we've got an incredible panel of experts lined up for you, so sit back, relax, and enjoy some serious sauce. What is up, everybody? How are you guys doing? Today, as you can tell, the panel's been shifted up a little bit. We've got two new faces, so Fresco, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick. And we lost your audio again. 1 second.
Yes, I'm back. That was my fault. User error.
Okay. Whew.
I fixed it. Breathe, buddy. Breathe. You're fine. Yeah. My name is Jerry. Also Fresco online. If you ever see me in game, you probably have killed me in Metalcore a few times. But I am. I do business development and partnerships for Studio 369, which is developing a game called Metalcore, along with a couple other titles that are yet undisclosed, but we will start marketing soon. I've been in Web3 gaming space for a while. I used to work with Kieran for a long time, Jorge for a long time, and happy to be here. This is my first time making video. I did a career space with you guys once, but first time being on video at Boston.
We're glad to have you. This is our new format, and it's every week, Thursday at 2 p.m. I have personally played Metalcore. I'm super excited for what you guys are building. The game kind of gives me those PlanetSide 2 vibes, but we'll go ahead and move on. Matt, what do you have?
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Matt. My background is in gaming and esports, but more recently in Web3, I've been working as a community lead and just advising a few games like Block Tackle and SkateX. And more recently, I've been working closely with Waypoint Gaming. So, yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
And for those that aren't familiar with Waypoint Gaming, it's actually a gaming community, and it was originally founded by Spike. So if you guys are interested in finding people to game with, hang out with, or if you're a content creator looking to collaborate and generate some content with some fellow creators, make sure you guys hit them up.
Hey, is this Matt DeFi?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, dude, yeah, I was sitting there so awkwardly being like in this lobby and like, I don't know who this guy is, but his voice sounds familiar.
I know, right? We're finally getting faces to names.
Yeah. And fun fact is, I did try to make it like a double meaning when I was making the name, but it's Matt Defies. Like I'm defying, but yeah. I wonder why people think it's Matt Decentralized Finance, but yeah.
Oh, well. And it shows deep into the industry, buddy. You can't blame them.
Yeah. I kind of meant it to be like a double entendre thing. Yeah.
Man, I'm so sorry if I was weird this whole time we were in the lobby. I was like, I know I'm supposed to know who I'm speaking with here, but like I said, I recognize the voice, but I felt like we knew each other too well for me to be like, hey, what's your name?
No worries.
And then last but not least, everybody should be familiar with Jorge. He's been on the show since we started, but go ahead and say hi, I guess.
Hi? Is that all you want me to do?
Hi.
What's up, guys? Pretty excited for today's show. I've worked with Jerry here. I've had a blast with him. Matt, what's up? Happy birthday to Matt. Jerry, I think you forgot to mention you're 6'10". Guy's built like a freaking rock. Jinkrin, what's up, brother? I'm excited for today's show. I'm excited to talk about gaming, NFTs, coins, whatever you want to talk about. We're talking about today. It's going to get saucy.
Oh, hell yeah. So that's everybody that we got joining us today. We're going to dive into the topic, which is coins versus NFTs in gaming. Now, it's a very general topic. It's left that way for a reason. I want this to be a very open, free-flowing discussion. But we've seen games all kind of take different paths, right? Some of them have coins, some of them don't, and it feels like the ones that don't, in my personal experience and opinion, seem to be faring a little bit better. Why do you guys think that might be?
Well, I think let's take a back step, right? In the sense of like understanding the gaming coins, right? When we talk about gaming coins, because you look at like Yuga, right? They've taken that coin and built, I don't know what you want to call it, a gaming empire, but I don't know what kind of games they're putting out, but that's okay. At the end of the day, it's not a scam project, like that's what we should be grateful for, right? Like, at the end of the day. But I mean, if you look at coins, it depends on what the coin is going to be used for, right? Like if it's an in-game currency, which we've already seen in million of Web2 games and it works. I mean, it's been around for a long time. But if you're talking about coins that are going to be like a Yuga, then I think there's a differential that we have to kind of explain to everybody first.
Mm-hmm. You guys have
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah, so a little bit of background about myself. I came from like Axie. So, and
Mm-hmm.
when I say I came from Axie, I mean someone that like went all in. And I was even streaming the game full time on Twitch. That's kind of how I grew my little audience
Oh.
that I had in my community. Yeah, so I was like all in. And one of the things that I noticed early on is that they had the like two coin system, which is the SLP, which is the inflationary token,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had the AXS, which was the governance token. And I remember a lot of people back then when I mean the price of SLP was doing well, it was hitting like towards 40 cents in the bull.
Oh
And I
wow.
remember people saying, "Should we stack up SLP?" And I remember thinking like, hell no. It's this thing that is like people are just printing every day. Like it's never gonna go down. Like the value is only gonna drop. But AXS on the other hand, I literally saw it go from when I started, it was like a $4. And I saw that thing go to $150 in like within a month.
Wow.
So yeah, so when I was like, okay, the reason for that was because of the way it worked, the Ponzi, like people had to burn this token and a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of SLP to create more axes. But then that burning mechanism was only it was kind of making that problem worse in the long
Mm-hmm.
run. So yeah, for me personally, just to let Jerry go next. I think for me, like I would choose NFTs any day, just because I see, I can see myself being attached to an IP, like as a gamer. So
Yeah.
I've always collected my cards. I love Pokemon, so I think I can, as a gamer, I can enjoy looking at some art a lot more than like some coins that I get from a game. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, here I thought I was going to be the resident hater of coins and tokens in games. I'm very pro NFTs, but I think I don't dislike the idea of tokens in games, right? I think just the implementation of them has been wrong, like in every iteration that we've seen. And Matt touched on it like in a perfect way, right? You have SLP, which is like this reward token, and it's kind of like if anybody's like done a lot of DeFi, like you do this pair and you farm this token, which is
Mm-hmm.
like meant to be sold, and that's all it does is, and if you don't sell it, like the moment you get it, it's just going to keep decreasing value. And I think without when you have just like a rewards based token, right, that's just going to be used as that. It's going to be used to sell. You're going to go buy a coffee with it. Jorge buys
Mm-hmm.
4 coffees a day, so he needs a lot of rewards. So without having a strong like sink to have that, it's just you're on this just sinking ship, just going to slowly. And we saw it. We've seen it in every use case that we've seen in gaming. So, I don't hate tokens in gaming. I just, you know, we we've done it wrong. Like if tokens coming out first, that's a huge red
Mm-hmm.
flag. Like, let the game come out first. And
I,
hopefully in like the top and big stages, there's been a really strong stress test of economies, so you can identify like where are those sinks and faucets, right? Because the
Yeah.
reward is just this giant faucet, and there's no kind of use case that we've seen behind that. So
Mm-hmm.
that thinking needs to shift.
yeah, I think I want to add something here. It's like, okay, if you look at play to earn, right? Like, I don't know if play to earn was for gamers, right? Like, I think play to earn is a market that's really for like the casino gambling audience, right? Because like that's who would want to play to earn. Like, those are the people. I don't believe gamers are here to not to say to earn, but the understanding of earning the way that we had put it out originally, it just wasn't sustainable. There isn't a
Yeah.
sustainable economy for it, right? And so I think that's again why, like, when we look at tokens, it's like it has to be something that's like either in game, that's where for the in game currency to keep playing within the game, earn like an NFT, whatever it is. But it's got to be something that's not like going to be a mechanism like, hey, I'm going to make $100,000 off of playing video games.
Yeah.
That's not where there's not going to be a sustainability for it.
No, 100%. And my, again, this is my personal experience, is play to earn really has no impact on first world countries like America and Europe. You're not going to make a full time income off of gaming. It's not feasible. It's not possible, 100%. But we have seen in other countries, like Africa and even some parts of Mexico, like Brazil, for example, where there are gamers that are making life changing money off of play to earn systems. So I think that there are gamers that will play for the sole reason of earning, but it's not going to be like the standard. It's not going to be everybody, because I tested the waters with a couple of play to earn games myself, and after a month of farming, I was almost able to buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Almost, not quite, but I almost got there. So a little bit of kickback for playing
Yep,
games I
but it's so
enjoy is
small,
something.
right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah, you're talking about like such a small audience that like even to find the audience, the marketing you would have to
Hmm.
do, the spend and everything. I don't think any Web3 game will have that kind of ability to do that. So again, it's just I don't see gamers it's being something that you want to like target. That's not your target market, I would say.
So there's a system that I've kind of been pitching to people, because I'm not anti-coin, but I am anti-coin in their current fashion. I don't believe your token should be extracted to fiat. If it's got in-game utility and it's got in-game use case, if I am used to spending $1 to craft an item in the game, for example, and one day I wake up and it's $10, I'm probably just going to stop crafting. So I think if we look at Web 2, and I use this example a lot because they're the closest I would say to a pseudo Web 3 setup, World of Warcraft, right? I have my in game gold that I can farm up and then redeem for a subscription token, which I can then redeem for store credit. So, in a way, they have a play to earn closed economy because it never leaves the Blizzard Activision ecosystem. But the thing is, with the gold, I have to decide, am I going to buy gear? Am I going to craft? Am I going to buy materials? Am I going to upgrade my gear? Like, you have all these different gold sinks that make me choose between, do I want to enjoy the game or do I want to earn, right? And I think that's where Web3 might be missing the mark. What do you guys think about that if we were to remove the fiat translation from these tokens and just leave it to in-game, and the NFTs are where people have to earn because you have to farm or grind and then they can sell those instead?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. At first, a lot of the investors would say, "Oh, this is a dead token, right? Like you killed it. Like there's no liquidity." But yeah, we all know that those are not the true gamers, right? Like I mean, gamers are very much used to handling in-game currencies that
Hmm.
they can only, they can never sell those or like get the value back, right? So I think for a gamer, if you were to explain that to them, they wouldn't have like a problem with it. Um, I have worked, so for example, like Block Tackle, I remember them talking about this exact topic, which was how do we make our, so they had a token that was not, you were not able to quote unquote sell it. Some
Hmm.
people like were kind of like trading it, but it wasn't like officially or anything. But they said, how can we make this token into an upgrade system where you can upgrade your NFTs, your skateboards, and then let's say they become like rare or super rare, and then those can be transacted on any marketplace as normal. So I think it's a really good idea. It could work, but the one thing about tokens and Web3 and Web3 gaming is that no one has figured it out, like Jerry said earlier.
Hmm.
I think in the future, it doesn't mean that like it can't work, but no one has figured it out yet. But you bet if there's ever a day someone figures it out, every game and their mom is gonna copy the model. Like, yeah. So
I
I
think
Well,
Matt,
with that,
Matt makes you make some great points there. Is that we're still early, right? Right now,
hmm
people still think of us as a scam, right? A lot of people that understanding of Web3 crypto, you mentioned it, they're like, oh yeah, I ain't messing around with that. So I think like what Matt's saying, yeah, like even like in 3 5 years, if there is a mass adoption boom, then we can start incorporating or bringing some of these stuff in that might actually work.
Well, so another example is Fortnite, right? Everybody's used to buying V-Bucks. Money go in, but you can never go out. Well, what if we adopted the same premise, except the money goes out because you're able to sell your Fortnite skins? Doesn't that sound more appealing? Like, yeah, you still can't sell off your extra V-Bucks, but at least I can sell the skins I buy with them.
yeah, you
yeah,
you can actually do that like 3 times a season. You can refund the skins that you bought. So yeah, I know people love that feature. So of course, gamers would
I
jump at that.
I really like that idea is really interesting. I think you'll see games, not to say that like we're ever going to do this with any of our games, but like
Hmm.
I think you'll see games that want to like reduce the speculative like value of their token and not have like a money come in system with like a fiat to like buying a token system, and it'll be like a earning an in-game token, that can then be used to transact or upgrade or with a utility token. But there can't be like it's direct like $100,000 purchase of it to really skew like your in-game economy. Not to say that we're doing any of that kind of stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I think you will see games start to explore something like that to keep the just that speculative nature of like a token kind of under control, right? Because like Matt said, there's a ton of people who bought SLP at 40 cents, right? Because they thought it was a good investment choice, and then not realizing it didn't know anything about the Axie ecosystem, realizing that this huge inflationary token, and it's not sustainable to keep like, the value of that, right? And the way we should lose people, we should gain and lose people is through gameplay. It's not like through their investment choices, right? And there's a lot of people that hate Axie because they just lost money off it. Didn't try the game out at all, They just lost a lot of money, and now it's a scam, right?
So it sounds like everybody kind of agrees that tokens aren't necessarily bad. The current implementations just don't work. I'm getting a lot
Yeah.
of nods. So
Yeah. Also, love what you guys said about NFTs being the earning model for things. That is something we'll probably see in Metalcore at the very least. Not saying anything about like our future titles, but that will be very present in Metalcore. The danger of that, and something that everybody has to be aware of, is like how inflationary do your NFTs then get, right? Like what value does the $2 NFT have if that's what you're earning, and if there's no like not to just because it's the example that comes up, and I love the guys on Dead Blocks, like their loot coffins are worth like 3 cents, and are people going to transact on that? Is that really helping people with earning potential if there's so many that it then becomes an illiquid market?
Yeah. Like I was just gonna say, I think so. For example, with Only Up, this Goblin Town game, right? I think that's one of the earliest iterations of the market showing that just because a game reaches mass adoption, it doesn't mean that price is going to go up. So I think so. For example, I think let's say Fortnite or League of Legends, let's say they had a token. I actually think that that token would be pretty low priced, but people would just be playing the game all day anyway, no matter the token price. So that's what I think is
I
going to
mean,
happen.
you look at Yuga. I mean, and then right, like if it's an NFT, then you're going to be priced out to want to play the game, right? So it's almost to that concept.
I agree, and the system I was just talking about with the tokens not being able to be extracted to fiat, it would still allow for people to earn, just not direct extraction, because you don't want that token price to fluctuate and affect people's ability to enjoy the game. But players could still trade it amongst themselves, similar to what we're seeing from WoW gold sellers, right? So you could still have an economy built around the token. The only difference between Web3 and what World of Warcraft does is World of Warcraft says, no, no, we want a cut of the pie. All your transactions need to come through us. We're like, no, it's your token. You bought it. You're free to do with it as you please. If you want to trade it to Joe Schmo for $100, okay, that's fine, right? I feel like that's a great model. But do you think that that would be something investors would see as appealing, or do you think that would kind of steer them away because it seems to move a little bit away from the Web3 ethos and the fact that token price controlled instead of free flowing? Anybody? I see the light bulb and the gears turning.
Yeah, well, there's always like a delay. I think that like that could be explored. If I'm understanding right, like you're talking more about like peer-to-peer transactions. So I could
Exactly.
find somebody who wants to buy. Yeah, I think like that's probably not out of the wrong possibility of seeing like rather than list a token list on like a centralized exchange, you're just buying and selling it to the open market. Like I do see that there being games where like facilitate like peer-to-peer transactions. I think that you're opening yourself up for a little bit more of like regulatory risk in that, and I think that's what you'll see like every game kind of stay away from. It's just why we haven't ever made public comments on a token, because hey, Decentraland and Sandbox can fight the SEC, right? We can't, so we have to wait for like regulatory clarity. But if that was like within the realms of like these are the rules we're given, and yeah, I totally could see that happening. But then I think you open people up for if somebody doesn't know and it's brand new, like just getting kind of scammed, or then there's a lot more links that stuff. And so if you find a new player and you're like, dude, these things are worth $10,000 and they're worth like four, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
open markets do serve a lot of benefit for those reasons, right? You're getting a fair price.
Well, I'm just saying if you do the comparison with the system that I just said, you have a set price on the token, so you always know the value when you buy it. And I don't think these companies, when it comes to regulation, I don't think the companies can be held liable for peer-to-peer transactions because when you think about it, doesn't that mean every Web 2 game that has trading going on involved would all of a sudden fall under the same umbrella?
That's a good point. I don't think WoW has ever openly embraced, peer-to-peer like gold selling though.
No,
They
they want a
definitely,
piece of the pie, so they made it. They built it into the
yeah,
game.
exactly, right? Yeah, exactly.
What are your guys' thoughts, Jorge? Oh, we lost Jorge. Oh, there he's
I,
back.
I meant to hit the mute button. No, I think again, it's just is it sustainable, right? I almost want to like go back to like arcade places, right, where you have to take the dollar and then get the coins. It's a fixed price at the end of the day, right? I mean, if you really think about it,
Hmm.
it just again, can we create something that's sustainable to make this happen? Who knows? I don't know that. That's something thing that we might have to try.
Ooh, we got a good question from the audience. Now, this is a little off track, but I am actually curious to answer myself. From the perspective of a traditional gamer, can we each pick our top two Web3 games that we believe will be successful in the next cycle based on its gameplay? So, what's your two favorite
I mean,
games in Web3, basically,
I think
from
everybody's
gameplay?
gonna say wild card, right? I mean, who
I
doesn't
haven't
have
played it.
wild card in the top two yet?
I haven't played it. I can't say wild card because I'm not
I'm
sure,
just gonna
but
say
it looks
wild
fun.
card, just because everybody always says wild card.
Hmm.
um, yeah, I think Shrapnel has a very good chance, right?
I haven't played that one either.
Yeah, and not a lot of people haven't. They're doing the private thing. Obviously Metalcore, but I can't say that.
Hmm.
Yeah, Shrapnel is super bullish on those guys. Like they've built a lot of good games, right? You look at the team behind that. They've built tons of really high quality games before. Mark Long is just not his first rodeo. He knows exactly what it takes. So I think you have to have a little bit of faith in them. A lot of similarities between their studio and Metalcore, by the way. I'm not allowed to shoot my own game. I'd say just to say something that's not wildcard, Parallel, right, is obviously doing things the right way. They have some very smart people behind them.
Hmm.
Uh, Obviously, trading card games is such a niche market, but once you start to gain momentum in trading card games, you take off, right? So I have a lot of faith in Parallel to try to put a dent in some of like the trading card games. Shot in the dark here. Nobody's talked about these guys enough, but Planet Mojo, I think, it would be like my honorable mention in that. I think, auto battlers are going to do nothing but grow because they're very inclusive and accessible, like style
Hmm.
of gameplay that is very skill based. You can be
Yep.
really bad at games and play auto battlers and have fun. If you're a really good gamer, you can really min max like auto battlers. It's crazy, and it's really frustrating to play against people.
I guess the question, I guess it's back to the question, right? Like, is it game that we think by gameplay or like successful in sense of like um, maybe like economy and attention, right? I guess that's because
Gameplay.
then like what about Dr. Disrespect, right? I mean, like he's got the community behind him, and I think he's really one of the very few ones that that has such a large community that will really kind of do whatever the hell he wants that people want him to do. So like, so I don't know. I have to give. I think he's up there. No.
I'll give my answer after Matt.
Yeah, so to not have the same answers as everyone, I'll try. I was gonna say that drop as well, just because I think they went really smartly on the way that they onboarded gamers, like with the with the whole Stardust thing. I think that was like really well done, and obviously
Hmm.
they have the one of the biggest growth partners in the world with the doc, right? So that's worth an obscene amount of money. Obviously, Shrapnel, I've never played it, but I know the team is really good. Their fidelity looks really good. Wildcard, I'm bullish on because after the playtest, I bought a wild pass, so I definitely enjoyed that a lot. I was really surprised with I remember because we get a ton of games reaching out to us. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember like when we first heard about Ring Games and Stella Fantasy, we were like, oh, this is like going to be like a Genshin clone. It's probably not going to be very good. And they sent us the demo, and I remember messaging Spike right. I was like, have you seen the fidelity on this thing? They're like super polished, and they
Mm-hmm.
gave us like a small slice. But I was like, the mechanics on this, it works perfect. And now they've been doing like monthly updates. They're releasing characters like every month, which is new content for a game. So I'm very impressed with how they're doing it. And now they after 3XP, they announced they're going to be on Steam. They're going to be on mobile
Mm-hmm.
on both app stores. So they're really taking it serious when it comes to hitting that Southeast Asian market. And also they've been trying their best to like do a good job here in NA as well. So I've been impressed with them. So yeah, those are my two games.
So there's a trend here with all these guys, and I'm going to break the trend. If you haven't noticed, esports slash competitive type of games. Even Planet Mojo is a competitive game, right? But you broke the mold a little bit and said Stella Fantasy. Now I'm going to agree with you. Stella Fantasy is good, but have any of you played Grand Saga? Because I can't believe not a single person believes Grand Saga is in their top two. I believe that one's going to make it. It is the best MMO I have played in the space.
I just
I
saw they
haven't.
were on Aptos, and I kind of left it at that.
Yeah. Well, that's such a Web3 thing to say, though. Like, and I don't say
Mm-hmm.
that as like a knock on Matt in any way, but like
No.
we like choose things based off of like chains sometimes, but like the end user is not going to do that, right? It's
Yeah.
hilarious. I had the same reaction that Matt did, so I'm also in the same camp. But like we choose things based off chains sometimes, not like gameplay. And at the end of the day, like chains are just going to be in the background. So I haven't played it.
Right. But are chains like consoles though, Jerry? Like, yeah, I remember when choosing certain games based on the console.
It to a degree, I
Yeah,
would say that that is the case.
I think
Yeah,
for our like era or like a generation of like blockchain user, yeah, that is a console
Hmm.
for us. But I think for the people that come in 2 or 3 years, I think it's not going to matter.
yeah. I think games should go cross-chain as much as they can. And also, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's starting to get hard, like keeping all these seed phrases safe. Like I have a notebook, it's starting to fill up. I'm like, damn, like
Uh,
how many wallets do I need?
Look, I'm gonna give you guys how I do things with seed phrases, because they say don't save it on your computer. I don't. Well, but I do. But I don't. And all I'm gonna say is multiple clouds, encryption, encryption key being stored in a separate cloud from your seed phrases, and all of your clouds secured behind 2FA. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna
Good luck
say now.
getting seed phrases.
I'm gonna talk about what the person in 2 or 3 years is gonna say, and it's one word: friction.
Oh, dude, I used to work in security, so I'm used to friction at this point. Am I saying that that's good for adoption? Not at all. We need to work on this like big time, but
Yeah.
you got
What
to
was your
keep.
second game though? You only have to choose one.
Fine. I try not to pick favorites. This is hard for me, but Metapixel unfortunately gets my vote automatically every time right now because I'm a WoW player. I've been playing WoW since the new expansion came out in November, and Metapixel was the first game that pulled me away from Web3 at least, that pulled me away
Yeah.
from an extended period of time. So I'm like super stoked for that one. But the other one, it, it's a toss up because there actually are a lot of solid games in the space depending on what your interests are. Me personally, I'm kind of leaning towards Last Remains. It's hard for me to say because the gameplay is there, the core loop is there, but it feels like it's still really early. Some of the map isn't finished. Enemy types are limited, but the gameplay was so enjoyable. The core loop, it kind of circles back to Dead Drop and Shrapnel where you got that extraction feel, but the zombie element, I love zombies. I grew up Resident Evil, Silent Hill. You throw zombies in an extraction shooter, and I have more fun killing the zombies than I do the other players. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still a metalcore content creator? Because you're kicked out now. No, I'm just kidding.
well, I think metalcore is going to make it regardless. I wish this was like a top 5 question. I know we don't have enough
No,
time to really do a
I was
top
just kidding.
5, but
We don't.
no,
No. We don't need to turn this into the metalcore show. I just wanted. I'm not going to
no,
pass
I'm
up an
just saying.
opportunity to fuck with you.
I'm just saying,
I
if you
thought
guys go to
Jerry.
my YouTube, Metalcore is one of like the probably 5 Web3 videos that I've done, and it's I put so much more effort into that one. But anyway, you're right. I don't want to turn this into a Metalcore shill or a Metapixel shill or any shill. So
But let's go to the question again, and now let's ask this question in the sense of what are your last 3 NFT purchases, you guys, as here, so I know what games you guys are like kind of like leaning in towards.
I'll go first. I'm gonna because I like to be transparent anyway. So, Last Remains, Metapixel, their early founders pass, and I don't think I have a third recently. It's been a minute. It may have actually been. Yeah, I can't think of a third off the top of my head because I went and spent on all those collections. So, um, go next and let me go look up my history because now I'm curious what I bought recently.
Well, I think I minted a wild pass, and then I haven't really been like I don't know. I see no opportunity to make money significantly right now, so I haven't been buying a ton of NFTs lately. Um, I minted a wild pass. I I had bought a shrapnel operator because I wanted to support my friends, and then I think I got a loot box from Revenge. I think
I
this fun
found my
game too.
third.
What was it?
My Angry Yakuza Girlfriend. Let's go, Sinjin.
Hey.
I know you're not here,
That
but
actually would be my third. Yeah, actually, I have to match you on that. I did buy one of those. So
Yeah. So for me, I got an ex-girlfriend as well. I got obviously the Wild Pass, and then I bought one of those grape NFTs because when they announced that they were gonna build the Fortnite game. I'm not sure if
yeah.
that counts as a game, but it's an NFT and it's gonna have a game, so yeah. So those are my latest 3. I don't buy a lot of NFTs these days because of the bear. But I'm still holding everything that I had before, so I'm pretty heavy on my wallets are pretty heavy on gaming assets.
Yeah, no, but it's great to hear the mindset behind you guys on like first of all taking you a while to buy and to not mention which ones you guys has bought. And so just again trying to think of the audience of like, some of these games and think
Mhm.
about like what we need for mass adoption. If we're struggling ourselves to even want to buy something, why though? Like right, and we're in this space. So it's just understanding that mentality that all that there is right now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think another thing that I noticed on often, and even when you ask people the question is like, what are the best Web3 games? It's like gaming doesn't work like this. Like you have specific genres, right? So for example, when I was working with 3XP and helping them with their, we came up with this like competition of like best shooter, best TCG, and that helped us a little bit define a little bit more like the genre. So for example, I don't expect a gamer to like every single genre of game, right? They're gonna pick, if they're like an MMO guy, they're gonna love Grand Saga. If they're like a shooter, they're gonna want to play Metalcore, Dead Drop, etc., etc. So
Yeah.
that's another thing that I sometimes think is like people comparing like just any Web3 games, and I'm like, no, perhaps we should think about the genres, right? Yeah, because that's also how we should think about onboarding users. So for example, if we're looking for players for a shooter, we should be marketing to like the Call of Duty players, right? The Fortnite players, etc. So I think that's the thing that we need to think about.
I have something to follow up that point, Matt, but I do want to tie that question because Jorge made an excellent question. I'm going to put a spin on it and ask you, what are the last 3 games you bought coins/tokens for? If any, for that matter.
Let me see. It's not many. So
Lugia.
basically, for me, it would
Yeah.
be ApeCoin because I was playing Dookie Dash.
Mhm.
I bought honestly, yeah, I bought like some Cipher from this game called Cipher. I think it's gonna be like MOBA of some sorts. But I had some NFTs, so I bought some of the token. But that was like a while ago, and then the last one would have been like SLP. So those are, I think, like the only tokens I've ever bought for games. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fresco, I saw you shaking your head.
dude, I bought Ape and into like the Dookie Dash. I traded it. I didn't like hold it.
Hmm.
I knew it was gonna have value in that brief moment in time, and then probably Illuvium tokens, and that's it.
Hmm. What about you, Jorge?
Yeah, I think it's definitely ApeCoin. I know. I think I still have a pretty big bag.
I'm feeling left
uh,
out here.
it's probably down bad right now after this week. So yeah, we won't talk about that anymore. I can't think of anything else. I think that's all I really ever had in gaming. I mean, of course I had Axie back in the day, but I don't think I don't have anything there left.
So this is not financial advice. I know that that doesn't get me out of legal trouble, but I'm not going to tell anybody to buy coins. I'm going to explain my thought process because I have bought some coins in a couple of games. So I look at it as kind of a Kickstarter, especially when the project's early on, they're looking for funding. So if I spend money on somebody's coin, I'm treating that money like it's gone. It lessens the blow when it runs to zero, and I'm going to let you know right now, I've only bought coins in 2 games, Genso Kishi and Make It Out. And for those that don't know about Make It Out, it's a horror game. I really love the game. I played it, got to try it before I bought the coin, and that was my biggest bag. I was like, I want this game to succeed. Take my money, right? Now I'm watching it run to zero, and I'm like, well, as long as the game comes out, whatever. I'm not here for profits. I'm here to support projects and see fun games come to fruition. So I am never somebody you should take financial advice from. Do not buy coins just because I'm telling you I'm buying the coin. I am buying for a much different reason than most people in Web3. I can assure you of that. So if you're looking to go red, go ahead, buy whatever I'm buying. But if you're looking to support good games, also buy what I'm buying. But unfortunately, the reality is not every game is going to make it. I've seen multiple in the space. There's one I had. I didn't buy coins, but I earned from staking, which I'm sure everybody in this space is familiar with. The mod token from MetaOps, and that token is basically not useful at all anymore. I love the team. I love the game, but there was a Discord announcement. Hey, we're shutting off the servers. It's a reality. They didn't get the funding they needed. They tried. They had a lot of community events. They had a lot of tournaments. Everything looked like it was going well. But this happens even outside of Web3. I don't think people like to think about it that way. Everybody likes to slam on Web3. Oh, well, what if the game shuts down? What if the game shuts down? I just had one this year called Spellbreak. If anybody's familiar with that game, it was a spell battle royale. And what I mean by spell is like I could summon a tornado, throw poison in it, and you got a poison tornado. It was really cool. I loved it. But they shuttered this year. So even in Web 2, games don't make it. It's just a reality. So if you're buying tokens, my best suggestion is to just treat it like that money disappeared. The second you purchased it, it's gone, and it makes you feel better whenever it really is gone.
Yeah, but I'm glad you said that, right? But like, aren't we already doing that in Web 2 when we buy a game, right? Like, if you're buying a game, digital
Hmm.
copy or regular copy, you're not getting your money back,
Exactly.
right? It's really the way that it's the perception that it's being sold, because I think in Web 3, like, it should be, hey, buy $60 worth of this token, cool, going to zero, but that was your entrance to the game or whatever. It's not very much different from Web 2. It's just again the way that we're not using the right wording.
But it shows that we were all apt to buy NFTs. In fact, we've bought enough NFTs we couldn't even remember what our last few purchases were. But I asked you guys about tokens, and boom, ape, ape, ape. Everybody knew, like right off the top of their head, because we're not going out and buying tokens for every game. We're not sitting here day trading. We're here for fun games, and we're getting skins and assets in those games. So I personally believe that these projects should lean more into the NFT side and stop focusing on trying to build sustainable token economies until they can actually figure it out. Because when you enact these economies in a live system, like it's one thing to sit here and test it internally, but once you put it out to the public and it flops, it's so much more damaging than just holding off, waiting. Make sure you do more internal testing, try it on a larger scale. If you have to onboard some of your players and like pull them into the ecosystem and try to like see if people abuse it, exploit it, stuff like that, I think that would go a long way. But right now, I feel like games should definitely lean more into the NFT side of things. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think one of the fundamental problems where we're doing token rounds and selling tokens is that the difference is that like when you buy a game in Web2, it's a finished product. So you know exactly what you're getting. Whereas in Web3, sometimes some people like are really bullish on some projects. So for example, recently I have been hearing through some different discords that apparently this project, the Metaverse, they have like a 1 million follower Instagram. Apparently they rugged or they're like seizing their development. So a lot of people had put a lot of money into them, and now that's never going to come into fruition. They're never going to see this finished product. It wasn't supposed to be a game, I think, but it was supposed to be like a metaverse, as we all know how that goes. But anyways, people lost a lot of money there, and they believed in the project and the founders, and even though they knew the risk, they still thought that they were going to get something in the end, like a game, right, or like a experience or something like that. So that's the difference, I think, the fundamental reason why people sometimes, when they finally see a game put out a demo, which never fully aligns, the expectations never match like reality, and that just starts like the cycle of the community being like, oh, you guys are not making this fast enough, it's still super early. So I feel very bad because I've worked for a game before, and I feel super bad for teams because some of these Web2 game developers that have worked in the industry for like 20 years, they're super scared of like putting out something early because they know the response that they're going to get.
Yeah.
So then you get this catch-22 situation where it's like, how can you show the community any progress if they're going to shit on it? But then on the other side, if you don't show the community any progress, they're just going to say that you're rugging and,
Do you think that they might be getting that feedback because they asked for money at an early stage? Like
yes, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I think just build more. Just like before you worry about, and I get everybody needs to monetize, and it's unrealistic to expect games to not have like consistent sales. I mean, we all know how like microtransactions are like ever present in gaming in 2023, right? But if you're an early stage game, you need to show more. I think everybody's learned their lesson, and you see it like Wildcard showed gameplay. They have the only successful mint of the last 6 months, right? Even compared to free mints, right? They had a better mint with a paid mint that was like $44 than some projects are giving their NFTs away. So just build more. And if you're not to a point where people can see the light at the end of the tunnel, I don't think people should even be thinking about sales, right? If you're at a stage where we can see how this is going to get polished and refined and finalized in 6 or 8 months, that's a different story. And I think think about how you can monetize and structure a sale at that point. But if you're not there, just build.
So the way, and the reason I kind of hold the mentality I do whenever I'm buying tokens is I look at it like Kickstarter, right? Because when you go to Kickstarter and you spend money, you're not getting a finished product. In fact, they usually give you a timeline. Hey, you might get it next year. You might get it the year after. We'll sort it out. It's kind of like Web3 in that regard. They give you a roadmap and they try to meet deadlines, but it doesn't always work that way. Let's be honest. If you've ever worked in software or any sort of technology development field, things may seem like they're going to be smooth, streamlined, straightforward. You think you get the dates right, and then everything falls apart because of maybe one line of code, right? So I understand missing deadlines and delays. That's why I'm not really a fan of hard dates. I'm more like, hey, we'll get it out to you like Q4 or something like that. It gives them a few months to work with versus a specific day. But
I think, Jinkin, right there, that's a very important thing that you're saying. You go to Kickstarter because you already know that mentality, what you're doing. In Web3, we failed to do that. We told everybody, hey, go mint these NFTs because game is coming out next month. And so now you have all these people minting an NFT because they think the game's coming out. When in reality, it was a Kickstarter under skies, right? And it was just again the language. I feel like if you told me, hey, you want to be an early investor in a game, you're going to mint this NFT, maybe it's going to give you some sort of pass or whatever because you're an early investor. I'd rather knowingly willing, like, be more acceptable to it.
And that's why I like Genesis mints and founders passes, access mints, whatever you want to call them. I don't mind buying early as long as it's. I feel like it's not necessarily us in like our regard as gamers and users and content creators are talking about this. I feel it's kind of on projects, right? To be like, hey, this is early access. I think being like right up front before you even mint, there should be like, hey, game is still in development, something like that. That's where I feel like a lot of projects are kind of missing the mark because I haven't seen anybody post that until you get in the game. The problem is a lot of them are token gated. So by the time you get that notice, this is early access or early development, you've already bought in, right?
Yeah. I think, that's the one gripe I have with Web3, which is the when projects are sometimes are doing the marketing, they're very like disingenuous in terms of so for example, if you're going to be selling land, some very expensive piece of land, right? Like, let's say for example like Gala, right? And some people spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars on this land. And I wonder if those people that spend that much money think they're ever going to see some sort of return on their investment at some point. But I mean, when then devs come out and they say, oh no, you're just supporting the game, right? This was just a raise, like you shouldn't expect anything, right? And then also another thing that I sometimes see, this happened a lot in Solana ecosystem. People get bullish when they see like a company or like a studio raise like $50 million. What that actually means is the game is not coming out for like 5 years. That's what the $50 million is for. It's not a bullish signal. You're in it. Like, so they go pump the NFT and it's like, oh yeah, when is it gonna moon? The game's coming out soon, right? It's like, no, see you in 5 years. That's what the 50 million are for. So yeah.
Rightfully so. I don't want to defend them because I'm not trying to defend them. But I do think Star Atlas was one of the very few ones that told you from the very beginning, like, this is 3 to 5 years out. Like, I think they might have said it a million times. And people still went and bought like $100,000 ships. And I'm like, wait, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at Star Citizen, right? You want to talk about a couple $100,000 ships. Oh my God. And that game's been in development for how many years? And the expectations up front are drastically different than what actually happened. And I'm surprised there hasn't been a lawsuit or something against them. The single player was canned. They've missed pretty much every deadline and roadmap. They had to switch engines partway through because they couldn't come to an agreement with licensing deals. Like, that has shown that even in Web 2, you can mishandle a project and easily encounter project, what's it called? Product creep, if I remember correctly. So I don't think there's really anything new here. I think projects do need to be more upfront about it, though, because again, you go to Steam, you go to buy an early access game, big old banner above the buy button saying this is an early access game, does not reflect the final product, blah blah blah. We need more of that in the space. I don't think I have seen a single mint, not one single mint that I've participated in that made that known up front on the website. Now, if you go into the Discord or the Twitter and you start digging through stuff, you might find it. But let's be honest, the average user isn't going to dig through all your socials and links and everything else trying to find this type of information. They just want to buy the game and play it. So I agree. I think that there's definitely an improvement to be made there, but there is some correlation between what we're seeing here and in Web 2, I feel like. So players can get used to it, assuming the expectations are made known, I feel like. I see much nods. I guess
Yeah,
everybody agrees.
yeah. I mean, again, it's just a language thing. It's so Web3 has had a language issue since day one, right? Since day one. You look at crypto, you look at everything. We've always had a language issue, and we carried it into gaming now, and it just now we're realizing how important what language is because mass adoption's not coming in, and we're like, what is it? And they're like, oh, it's a wording. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a really good point that you say. Everybody, like, I think especially when you look at like gaming and Web3, like there's been so many terms that have been like co-opted. Like Jim Kieran, like your concept of like guild was different. And then you get out into Web3 and you're like, you hear guild and Web3 people think like you're in social, like YGG. You and I think this subset of 40 people in a World of Warcraft game
Yep.
server that are doing things together, right? So, and gaming has that idea still, right? And when they come in, everybody goes like, wait, YGG is a guild? Like, what does that mean? It's like, oh, yeah, they're like an investment firm. There are a lot of things, right? And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of terms that get like co-opted and kind of bastardized by Web3, like to the point that like the conversation like we're having now, like an MVP, like a minimum viable product, is not like an alpha, right? And that has like become kind of a thing that's like, oh, well, this game's an alpha, and it's like, dude, it's a walking simulator right now. You're like, it's not fair to call yourself an alpha game. And there does need to be, from the people who are more like game savvy, like a big push to educate people, because Web3 brought in a lot of people who don't have an idea of like what an alpha game is, or like the differentiation between a cinematic trailer versus like a gameplay trailer, and like why those things are worlds apart, right? And because people came here for the monetary gain that could be, but they're still fans of projects, right? And I completely agree with Karen that we haven't done a good job of like educating and informing people, because words, the meaning of words change over time in language anyway. But with the cross pollination that like these two worlds, the blending that's happened, a lot of words have really changed, and that we also haven't done a good job of explaining those things. And that really is a fault of like the people like on my side of the table who work for studios and who need to do a better job of letting traditional words in gaming and traditional definitions seep through into like this new era of Web3 gaming.
I agree, and you hit the nail on the head. Like coming into Web3, because I'm over my 1 year mark now, right? Um, I heard guild, and I was like, I want to be part of a guild. I want to be all the guilds, because that's what I do in World of Warcraft. I join
Yeah.
somebody for a raid, and then I join their Discord, and I'm part of the guild, so to speak. And then I started learning what they really are over here, and I'm like, no, no, thank you.
Yeah, 100%, right?
But walking simulator, right? So does anybody have any final thoughts? It seems like we're all pretty much in agreements that NFTs are a stronger play than tokens, and at least in regards to gaming right now. Obviously, we don't know what the future holds. Somebody may find the holy grail of some token system, but we haven't seen it yet. Is that pretty on point?
I mean, it's just we don't have the users yet. We don't have gamers here yet,
Also
so we
true.
don't know what this could work. It might work, right? We have no clue, but we got what 100, less than 20,000, 100,000 gamers. I don't know what it's something like that, but you can't really do much with that because again, if you narrow the 100,000 to depending on what genre they like, that goes
Mhm.
down to like 5,000, and now it's a losing battle, man.
Maybe from the economic point of view, but remember, you don't need 1 million daily active users to have a successful game. EVE Online is still going, what has it been, 20, 25 years, something like that now, and they've got 40,000 active accounts. Now, that's accounts. I want to stress how much when I say accounts, because that does not equate to active players. And the reason I bring this up is I was an avid EVE Online player, and I'm pretty sure I have somewhere between 8 to 10 accounts for me alone, and I was considered a casual. So let that sink in. There are people out there that have 20 plus accounts, and they're still successful though. It works for them.
Yeah. Hey, here's another issue, right? Look at the way Web2 games make, right? Revenue, right? Like they have ads and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. We still haven't even tapped into that in Web3, right? Like, what's a Web3 game you've played that you have to watch a 30-second ad for? None yet.
Oh, you muted yourself. You're gonna make a great point, but
Oh,
you're
oops.
muted.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you've seen it. I'm not even 100% sure it's Web3, but Metapixel actually just released a mobile game. I think it was yesterday, or the day before, and it's within a genre of mobile games I've been playing, and they're very ad heavy. Metapixel was no exception, let me tell you. And the difference is I don't have an option to spend $5 to remove the ads either. So
You're
I've
just
been
gonna
watching a
sit
lot of
there.
ads because I enjoy their game. But again, you're
But
right.
to the point, right?
Yeah.
It's again, we haven't. I don't get, you know, Web3 game developers sometimes when they look at like the way they want to make money. First of all, sometimes you ask them how many users do you need? They don't even know. But that's a whole nother question. It's just like again on a business standpoint, like how do you make money? It's not very they don't have it very clear, right? Or they don't know how Web2 does it.
How do you make money? Not tokens. At least if you're asking our panel here, apparently. But if you want, sell me a Genesis NFT collection. I'm always looking for goodies in that regard. So I want my skins, especially the
Yeah,
red ones.
as a gamer, I think it's more digestible buying like game assets, skins. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Something that people can just look at and think it's very cool, and they don't necessarily expect to make a return on it. So yeah.
I mean, I buy tokens which may or may not even have a use. A lot of people buy them because they go up or down, whatever the case may be, whatever your reason for buying is. Or I can buy the skin that I can use inside the game, and I get bragging rights, right? Like I'll tell you right now, my Howler skin in EVIO. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, man, dope skin! How'd you get it? Can I buy it off you?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Nah, brah." It's one of the rarest skins in the game. Of course, I'm gonna rock it, and that's how I've always been about games. And it's like when you look at League of Legends, everybody's like, "Oh, well, $50 for just a skin is too much." Have you seen League of Legends? Have you seen Fortnite? Have you seen how much they charge for skins? Even
Valorant.
Diablo 4. If you want a
Yeah.
full set of cosmetic only armor, it's $25.
Dude, have you seen the Valorant prices?
No, should I be
Not
scared?
even, not even I can afford. Yeah, it's like $50 to $100 like minimum. Yeah, it's crazy, and people buy them like they're candy.
Excuse me. I need to go take out a loan.
Or hey, muted.
I see glasses, but I
Try
don't
to
hear.
I'm trying to buy NFTs and coins that are gonna make me rich. Is that what I'm here for?
That's what he put the sunglasses on because his future is so bright.
Yep. Nah, I'm all about being able to just rep the rarest and like coolest stuff I can find. You know, to me,
You gotta earn it. Yeah, we're old school, man. We're old though,
yeah.
I think.
And people are like, "Oh, well, these prices are ridiculous. You'll never see me spend $100 for a game." Guess who spent $300 for Warframe Founders Pass? But guess who also got their name on a planet?
Oh, there we go.
Again, there are so many more unique and creative ways to handle NFTs. Think about it. If you could have an NPC in the game that had your screen name because you own that NPC's NFT, wouldn't that also be equally as cool as owning a skin that you can actively use? Like
Yeah,
having a
yeah, dude.
piece of the
Do
history,
you
so to
remember?
speak.
You remember Mancrick in the Barons? Or I don't know if you're a Horde or Alliance player,
Hmm.
but it's like the Mancrick's wife was like this famous like World of Warcraft quest because nobody could ever find the guy because he was like way super far in like this giant zone, and you're like at the beginning stages of the game. And like, yeah, how cool would it be to own like that NFT, right? You know what I mean?
I mean,
I,
they've even
I'm
got a Robin Williams reference now in the game, which rest his soul. But I thought that was really cool. I don't know how much I would spend on it. Me personally, if I had a bank account with unlimited funds, and you told me, hey, you can buy this Robin Williams NFT, it doesn't do anything, but you get to say you own this NPC. I would spend a lot of money because I freaking love Robin Williams. I'm just saying.
I wanted to bring up a point that actually Jerry made, saying that you guys are old, and you guys are talking about kind of like your age of what games are. Since I have kids, I got two daughters, and they're on Amazon Games, and I cannot tell you how much money they spend on games every single day. I only look at my bank account. It says $4.99, $3.99, $1.99. These little like in-game transactions that they have in these games, like color like the cat or something like that. I don't know what the hell they're playing right now. All I know is that they're spending money on a daily basis. And so like I almost think about like what is even making them want to spend money at such a young age, like in games.
Dopamine.
It, yeah. I mean, so it's just understanding the different your genres of audience and everything, and the age.
That's why gotcha games are so popular. I think gacha games are okay if done in a certain format. I don't like I'm not a big fan of Genshin Impact, right? Because you have entire characters, playstyle, abilities, all of that locked behind it. But when it comes to gear, oh my god, like that Metapixel game I was just telling you guys about, the new mobile one they launched, they have gear boxes. Oh, I'm in trouble. I it's been out for 2 days and I'm pretty sure I've already spent over $30 and it's only going to get worse from
Yeah.
here. So I love that
That's
dopamine hit,
that's so
100%.
conducive for like a game that can have a justifiable like earning token because there's a sync that's got your
Hmm.
hooks already. You know what I mean? That's perfect for like the kind of concept of like conversation we're having right now, right? If that was a token, if that was their token, well, but then they would just end up selling it because that's how they would make money. So again, another flaw of the system. But you know what I mean? At least from a user like kind of transaction experience, you know, you can see how that is built because they've led with gameplay. They
Hmm.
have hooks in and they have a loop that makes you want to buy something, right? Obviously, the flaw in that is that when they need $1 million to pay payroll, they're just going to dump a token on the open market. So I don't know. How do you win, right?
Well, they have the money in, no money out system, at least for the mobile game that they launched. That's why I'm not sure if it's Web 3 or not. I know it's from a Web 3 company, but you know, I haven't dug into whether or not I can connect my wallet or anything like that. I know you can connect your Metapixel account, which is connected to a wallet. So there might be Web 3 elements I haven't explored yet. I definitely am going to keep playing the game and find out. You know, we can report back on that later. But like Jorge was just saying, like I complete a chapter and all of a sudden there's a bundle. You can get this awesome bundle that comes with extra goodies for $3. And I look at that and I'm like, it's only $3. Then I complete the next chapter. Another bundle, $3. It's only $3. You see the problem here? It's only $3 until you look at your bank statement and that $3 adds up over the course of a month and you've spent your entire life savings.
And I'm sure it's marketed that says it's $10 originally, but because you played this whole game, round one, it's $3 right now, and it's only going to be available for the next 30 seconds.
600% bonus. It works though. I love it. I'm not against it by any means. I don't even think it's predatory because I understand it myself. Now, if it's a child, people
Yeah,
will say it's predatory. But here's
yeah,
the
it
thing.
is.
No, I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because why would you give your child a device with your credit card attached to it unsupervised to begin with? Because my parents never did that. If I wanted to make a purchase, they took my phone from me, they put in the information, they paid it, and then they removed it. Done. I never
Different
had a
world,
problem with
Fair,
it.
different world now.
fair
It
point.
is
Yeah,
true, true, true.
yeah,
Parents don't.
that's a
I'm
fair
going to keep
point
that
though.
comment to myself.
Yeah, no, yeah. I feel like my mom still might do that with my phone. So,
Oh, wow.
no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Um, yeah, no, it's a fair point. I think with yeah, obviously when you bring kids to the mix, it is a different conversation. But you know, yeah, I don't know. I don't have kids for that reason. So
Fudd brought so a viewer comment brought up a good point, behavioral psychology, which I'm sure we're all aware of. But imagine taking that type of marketing and being able to apply it to, let's say, something like Apple Vision Pro. So you're just sitting there enjoying your day, and all of a sudden, boom! Here's a sale,
yeah,
just right in
you
your
just
eyeballs.
have that ad right in your face instead instead of on a screen that you can turn upside
Oh,
down. It's right there.
I hope we don't go that route. That screams Wally to me.
100% on that route, buddy.
All right, so I unfortunately do need to call it. Our AC was apparently they attempted to steal our AC. We had a really bad storm last night, and they cut the refrigerant line trying to remove the whole AC unit, and failed to accomplish doing so. So it ran dry all night and blew up.
Oh,
So I
oh
have no
no.
air conditioning, and it's getting really hot in here. But do you guys have anything final you want to say or add before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I gotta go too because apparently I stepped on fucking I think fire ants or something, and I just
Oh,
got bit up and like I'm dying over here. Welcome to Florida.
you look uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie, I can see it on your face.
Yeah, I'm getting bit up right now. It's like holy shit! I just stepped on like a little like nest or something.
How about you,
So
Gavin?
Um,
what? So
Go
that's why
ahead,
you've
Matt.
been running around for the last 10 minutes. So, no, yeah, no, I think there's a world for both to exist.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to choose one, obviously it would have to be the NFTs, just because I think, from a gamer's point of view, it's better to have, in-game assets than just some currency that you don't know what's gonna be used for. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's my stance.
Yeah. I think a lot of my comments, if you agreed with them or disagreed, that's very, very likely that happened. But we're I feel pretty strongly about the conversation and the topic, and happy to share my thoughts. And yeah, come see how we do at Metalcore if you tell us if we're right or wrong.
100%. You guys got to go check out my first open alpha video on YouTube if you're interested in metalcore. I'm telling you, the game has come a long way even since that video, which was at this point like 8 months ago. So definitely been building a lot. And that's another thing I noticed. There's a lot of games that have been building in silence, and they don't even open with the token, right? They just come out and say, "Hey guys, we have a game coming up. There's no token sale. We're not selling NFTs yet, but here's the game. Here's some play tests." They seem to be faring quite well. So I'm just saying, a little food for thought there.
Yeah, we might sell NFTs again at some point. I don't know. If somebody comes and tags me in the Discord, I'll make sure you get on the whitelist for that.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm already a holder anyway, so I'm sure I get whitelisted. But that's going to be it for us today, guys. This was another great episode of the Block Sauce. Obviously, I want to extend a huge thank you to Fresco, Matt, Jorge for joining us. Jorge, I'll see you next week. Fresco, Matt, we gotta get you guys in here on occasion because this was definitely a great discussion today. This is probably the first time we've had pretty much a mutual agreement on the topic. Like, NFTs seem to be the move right now, but we're not saying token bad either. So I think that is absolutely great that we finally ran into that. I'm not kidding. Like, go watch our past shows, and there was never like a consensus on anything ever. But we also want to thank everybody for tuning in, who hung out, all of our viewers and supporters who are retweeting the show, throwing questions at us. Fudd, I see you there, pretty consistently. Love to see it. And you guys are kind of what drive our passion to keep doing this and expanding. As you can see, we're improving every week. We're changing up the overlays and the audio, and we're making everything as best we can. Just remember, the sauce never stops flowing. Stay connected with us on social media. Share your thoughts, and you can even suggest future topics that you'd like us to tackle because your voice matters too. If you missed
And it's
any
free.
episode,
Remember, tell them it's free. It's free to like, it's
it's
free to
free.
share, and it's free to comment. So make sure you give us some love. Web3 is small, and the only way we're going to grow is because of you guys.
And if you missed any of our previous episodes or want to relive the sauce-filled moments, make sure you head over to the website. YouTube, LinkedIn, I believe they're still up on Twitter as well, and subscribe for all the latest updates and exclusive content. We did start another segment, so keep an eye out for a new show that will be happening on a separate part of this called Block Sauce Gaming, and that one's going to be a different format. I was really excited. The one that we got to do this week, we actually interviewed the CEO from Play Bushi. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with Bushi. And I'll tell you right now, Leon is a great guy. If any of you are looking for content or looking to get some spaces going, like, reach out to him. I loved our discussion. It was great. But that's going to be it for today. Sauce enthusiasts, join us next week for another exhilarating episode of the Block Sauce, and we'll keep the flavor and the discussion fiery. Until then, stay saucy and keep rocking the Web3 culture. Thank you guys, and have a good one.